Taiwan elites, they play a very, very strong role and infiltrated and also influenced worldwide intelligence.
Hello and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Kevin Rosenquist. I am your host, and of course, I am joined by Jason Ho of Techlium. Jason, great to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. Always love to chat with you.
Absolutely. Me too. It's always interesting stuff. How's everything over at Techlium?
I think we are doing well. We did the first technology announcement in South Korea. We have a very good response. And definitely, we like everyone else, we want to make a technology can change the world. Hopefully, in South Korea, that's the first step. We can march out with our technology.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for that, and definitely keep us posted. All right, so today we're going to start with a topic on China's rise and the global apprehension surrounding and China's rise. What specific actions or policies have led to the global concern regarding China's ascent?
I think there's a part of divergent people didn't notice because China becoming a problem everywhere, and every nation talk about China as their concern. I mean, definitely the free world, not talk about the communist countries, and North Korea doesn't care more or less. And so
they don't care about anything.
Most nations in free world, they worry about China, but no one has a solution. No one looks like just allow China to do whatever they want, whatever China likes. Why is that? Because we know, and everyone heard the CIA, everyone heard and Mossad, everyone heard MI6, MI5. People would think, and maybe it's not as true as the spy movies, but those intelligence agencies should have very clear information about China. Why no one has a solution? Why no one has answers? So you ask me about the policy. This is not a policy. This is a divergent. This is an act. They try to hide their true intentions. They try to hide their true activities and behind the veil. So always, I made the same example as the past. So China just like lions. There are male lions and female lions. And you have a male lions and holding to the world looks like a threat to the world. That's China communist. But there's a female lion actually. And the female lion, she will take all the prey and into their part of lunch or dinners. So male lions actually is the real enemy against us. So everyone knows China communist is enemy, like American, like Chinese, and even like Japanese or Korean, and the people in European, in everywhere. Chinese people, maybe not many people like China, not many people in favor of Chinese, even myself Chinese, but I can say that, and very straightforward. And but people doesn't know who is their enemy. That's the issue. So the female lion, actually, that's the part, is the most scary part. So China can be so successful, and because they have a female lion. The female lion, unfortunately, this is a Taiwan elite. Not the Taiwanese people, the Taiwan elite, because they share the same root with the Communist Party elites. They almost the same family from the same region with those people now in control of Communist parties. So those are the main reason why we have so many people worry about China that no one can actually take something very, very effectively to beat China. It's small fraud.
What exactly would you say like the biggest concerns are of nations when they look at China?
And national security, invasions, influences, corruptions, technology thefts. I think probably everything. And in the US, there's gangster issues, there's and fentanyl issues, drugs, human trafficking, all negative happening in the US. Somehow we can always trace back to China. Is China really so powerful? They are so capable. and can do all those things. Are they so well planned? It's not necessary because human beings is not perfect. Human beings not 100%. But why China is so effective? I think the root, maybe some people doesn't like to talk about it, but the root is the influences and infiltration to the intelligence agencies around the world. And this is not done by China. And when I wrote my book, The Big Plot, I talk about the beginning, how they infiltrated. And Taiwan elites, not the Taiwanese people again, but Taiwan elites, they play a very, very strong role and infiltrated and also influenced worldwide intelligence, feed them the wrong information. So they look China very differently. They always focus about China is so bad, China is so terrible, but also China all kinds of problems inside. Economy is bad, and people are fighting against communists every day. There are terrible protests on the street, on the China street, and it looks like China Communist Party is collapsing. So they try to give those conflict images, and unfortunately, money, power, women, sometimes young men and young boys, and those are very strong tool to influence intelligence agencies. So feed them information, ignore what's really happening, ignore what's the truth, ignore and what's who and is their real enemy. So that's the unfortunate event and happening around the world that makes China become invincible.
What does China want ultimately? Just power? Do they have bigger ambitions? I mean, like what? They have a lot of power. How much do they need?
That's interesting. What China wants. First, we have to dissect China a little bit. We have a Communist Party, we have Chinese people, and the Communist Party also is not a unity. It's not monolithic inside. There are so many factions, and have a different interest group inside. So what China want, and I think I have to look back on the 1978, the Chinese Communist leader Deng Xiaoping. This is a very important change for Communist Party. And Deng Xiaoping is very famous in Communist Party, and Chinese people called him 3 ups, 3 downs. And he has been demoted by the Mao Zedong, which is the god of the Chinese communists, and demoted by Mao Zedong and remove all his titles and 3 times. But also Mao Zedong promoted him or recovered and Deng Xiaoping's positions 3 times. So it is a 3 up, 3 down. Why Mao Zedong loved him so much, but also hate him so much? The reason is Deng Xiaoping is very connected to Taiwan elite. And I call it Green Game, and most Chinese call it Green Game. But the Green Game, this word has been erased from the most news media because it's a taboo. You don't allow to hear the name. So Deng Xiaoping is very close to Green Game, and Green Game is extremely effective. They can achieve whatever Chinese communists cannot do. So the Deng Xiaoping has been removed a couple of times, but in the end, Mao Zedong compromised to still allow Deng Xiaoping to come back with Green Game. They can make China to do things they want. So it is not what China wants. Actually, this is what Green Game wants. So people look at China as so influential. China can make money all around the world. But who gets benefit? If anyone familiar with China matters, if we really go to China, talk to people, Chinese people economy very bad. They're living in very, very bad situations. And Chinese people are not happy. What they want, just make their life and can live more easier than before. That's the only thing they want. But Green Gang is different. They are very, very, very ambitious. And Green Gang is an organization in Chinese history over 1,200 years. That's 1,200 years. More longer than and the most democratic nation here, longer than the United States. And so those people have strong ambition. And they really want to control the world. And so it's not what China wants. It's not what communists want. The more importantly is what the Green Gang wants. I think that's the key and that's the issue. And to make world so miserable today as people worry about the Chinese.
Wow. All right. Well, that one I haven't heard before. That's super interesting. How do so they basically are controlling everything from the background?
That's the Communist parties, and they are struggling. Before 1978, yes, Green Gang and was underdog, and the communists doesn't like them, and also Taiwanese government at that time, and it's Chiang Kai-shek and Chiang Kai-shek's son, and as a president, also he tried to remove Green Gang completely. But after 1978, Deng Xiaoping took power. He supported the Green Gang very, very much. And Green Gang gained power probably around the time 1987, 1988. And after the two companies established, one is Huawei in China, everyone heard about it. And one is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation. Trump said this company is the most powerful company in the world. So after those two companies established, after the 1987, and becoming mature from the 1988 in operation, then they started to infiltrate and control and the narratives and guided the Communist Party moving to the different direction. So in my book, I talk about around the 1996, 1997, and close to 1996, the end of 1996, there was an attempt coup in China because Green Gang gained so much influences. The original founders of Communist Party, they're afraid, and China will move away from the original ideas, but allow Green Gang to control, make a Communist Party as just an empty body, but the Green Gang going to be the soul and the brain. And so this attempt to coup, unfortunately, it failed. So after the Xi Jinping took power in 2012, Green Gang finally and pretty much in charge of most important matters when China facing outside. So whatever we heard today about the Chinese communists and most activity actually is commanded, also directed by Green Gang.
So who is leading the charge on the fentanyl you talked about and the human trafficking? Is that the Communist Party or, is it Gringham?
And definitely Communist Party is not so powerful. Definitely it's Green Gang, because Green Gang is working on those activities since 1200 years ago. They became so powerful because human trafficking, the same, but before it's not drug, before it's it's salt, because salt is very, very precious material. And so the medicine and salt was there, and their focus back to 1200 years ago. And now as the society and changed, as the science developed well, now they focus on drugs. So they've been doing that. They have network covering the world since 1200 years ago. So definitely communists has no capability. So you look at Mexico, and if you talk to Mexico City, those cartels, they are working with Taiwanese mafias, not the Chinese. If you look at those production and those distribution of fentanyl, and the key and management operation team still located in Taiwan, not China.
So what do you think is it just about money, the fentanyl, or is it more than that?
There's more than that, because they want to create problem. They want to collapse the American society, not American, but worldwide, and the society, so they can get control. So Green Gang, if you look at all the horror movies, you talk about the deadman working, the zombie workings, I think if you try to understand Green Gang more, understand their ideology, actually, they try to make a war worse than the zombie war.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, what, hang on a second. Let me, that's interesting. You made me go off script here because you're talking about stuff that's way more interesting than what I was going to talk about. Yeah, I mean, like, so basically, again, they're behind the scenes, and the Communist Party is just sort of the face of China, but they're not the ones in control.
They can't do. If you talk about the zombies, you talk about the and those horror movies and those monsters walking on the street, actually this is a mastermind behind or something controlling them. That's the situation. So China communist and now is moving towards a state going to be a zombie. And I think Green Game, their plan probably will replace communist China and from the year between the 2037 to 2043. And at that time, maybe the people from the TSMC in Taiwan or the leader from the Huawei in China, they will suddenly come up, push out the Communist Party, and worldwide will be celebrating. We misjudged Huawei, we underestimate the TSMC. They are so great that they help the world resolve the difficult problem, move out and kick out the communist China. And now bring China back election, bring China back freedom, and they must be the world leader. I think that's going to happen. That's what the Green Game wants. So the weakening communist China, the weakening China economy, and also in Chinese people now living in very poor conditions, and not only economically but mentally, and all the situation is going downwards. So they are preparing. Once they take China and the people praises Green Game, you help the world resolve the biggest problem, take away the Chinese Communist Party. That time Green Game try to take control of the world because they formally can work on the world stage and commanding everyone, including us.
All right. Well, this is some interesting stuff. We're going to take a break here. This will be, we're going to do a part 2 of this episode, but for now, we're going to wrap this up. Jason, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to talking more with you about this.
Sure. It's my pleasure. And see everyone soon.